Good morning. Welcome to the PPPC National Convention 2014, and welcome to this morning's session entitled Incentives, a Powerful Message. I'm delighted to introduce to you this morning our two speakers, Linda Gallant and Jane Gray, Director of Sales, the Marco Travel Group. Linda Gallant, CAS, has been in the promotional incentive industry since 2000, having served as president of IMA, Canada Council in 2007 and 2008, and chair of PPPC in 2009, she continues to share her passion of the industry with others. As vice president of SumCan Marketing and Sales, she's focused on building brands and loyalty among customers and vendors. Jane Gray. As the Director of Sales for Marco Travel Group, her primary role is new business development and helping clients realize the power of incentive travel through rewards and the loyalty these programs create. Jane is crazy about travel and still considers it a privilege when her role dictates that she travels the world with and for her clients. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Linda and Jane.
Thanks, Chantal. For those of you that aren't familiar with myself and Jane, we just thought we'd give you a little brief overview of our companies. If you're not familiar, SumCan is a supplier of consumer-branded products to the premium and incentive industry in Canada. And we actually warehouse all of our goods in our facility in Pickering, Ontario. And we sell only through distributors and resellers in this market. And I encourage you to stop by the booth at some point today, have a look at all of the brands. We keep adding new brands to refresh our lineup for our customers. Thank you for being here this morning, getting up so early.
You may have heard of the Marco Corporation. It's a 40-year-old incentive company, of which we've actually have another division, another company, which is a travel agency. From that agency, we were able to provide all of the prizing for our contest winners where the prize involved travel. Thus, we had to start our own travel agency, and we've been specializing in incentive and group travel for the last 12 years. So we'll go on to incentives, one powerful message. This statistic from June of 2012, according to a new study released during that time, companies have considerably increased the use of employee and corporate incentive programs. Despite the continued economic conditions, they continue to put money here in their budget. Why? Because it works. Every single person that you know of has a card of some sort in their wallet for loyalty. What is in it for me? That's what we're going to talk about. That's why companies to this day continue to offer incentives.
That same survey actually indicated that there was a widespread commitment to the use of incentive programs. 2/3 of the respondents actually confirmed that they have used incentives, and over 3/4 of them indicating that the number of programs they are implementing or that they are implementing increased or stayed the same over the last 3 years. As well, the findings proved that the majority of the respondents said that they gained a competitive advantage over their competition when they used incentive programs. We're going to talk about the 3 core options today in the incentive industry: merchandise, gift cards, and travel. And according to the latest issue of Incentive Magazine, November-December, they indicated that it's nearly a $77 billion market in the U.S., with over half of that being strictly on merchandise and gift cards alone. Half of that market is also driven by smaller businesses, which was surprising to me. that have revenues of $1 to $10 million. When we talk about merchandise, what you're going to hear a lot today is the word loyalty. Not so much that we're talking strictly about loyalty programs, but the fact is when you use incentives, whether it's with your customers or employees, you are actually implementing a sense of loyalty to you and your company. The nice thing about merchandise, why people gravitate toward merchandise, number one, it is a tangible item. So people can see, feel, and touch it. You have a lot of choice and diversification, which is important when you're dealing with certain audiences and target groups. You want to be able to choose rewards that are meaningful to that target group. And with the use of merchandise, there's so much out there to choose from that is actually, it's a great idea because you can diversify the offerings entirely. The social and trophy value of the item itself is huge. You know, if you have an opportunity to redeem for a big screen TV, let's say, every time that you go into your family room, turn that TV on, you're going to remember why you achieved that reward. The value perception is really high, again, not just from the person, the recipient that is the recipient of the reward, but by their peers as well as their colleagues. And we're not really going to talk about cash today, but and I'm sure you all know this, there's been a lot of stats on the relativity of cash as an incentive. The problem with cash is it really isn't promotable. Unlike merchandise, perhaps gift cards, and even travel, when you're talking to your peers, I think that you're more likely to talk about the big screen TV that you were able to redeem for. You are less likely to talk about the $5,000 bonus that you just received. And the thing with cash is a lot of recipients say that I got the $5,000 bonus last year, this year I didn't get it. So what was a positive now becomes a negative. They look at it as part of their salary, and it's just not memorable. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people said that when they used their cash bonus, they can't remember how they used it. It may have been to pay some bills, it may have been to buy something that they needed for the house, but there's no trophy value in that as much as there is merchandise and travel.
And to go off, Linda, statistically, that is 90% of people that get a cash bonus actually do use it to pay down debt. And they're not allowed to promote it because not everybody's getting the same cash bonus in the office. So the first thing that happens is, here you go, Jane, here's your bonus, but for God's sake, don't tell anybody because they didn't get it. So with rewarding with a gift, with rewarding with a gift card, with rewarding with travel, that's promotable. You can go out and speak to that. With gift cards, that's one of the ways that you can continue to build loyalty. Even if it's a $25 gift card, you've done a great job. Thanks for staying the extra, whatever. What's in it for you as a premium product supplier? Not a lot, other than it does still create that loyalty that you've given them something. They're very flexible. The need versus the want in a gift card, I don't really need it, but I want it. I've got this gift card, it's kind of found money, so I can go with that. It's very simple to use. There are no space limitations, and you can mail them easily. So if you're talking to any clients that want to do a promotion, you can easily suggest a gift card. However, it is like buying cash. So for you as a vendor to supply a gift card, usually it's face-to-face value. So if it's a $25 gift card, it's going to cost you $25. Some of them actually have a premium on them, like your Visa and MasterCard gift cards. They're very easy to use, but they have an administration fee on them. As of November, and I think that's in one of the other slides, they have been reduced to $3.95. They don't have expiry dates anymore. You can't. It's still cash. It's still considered cash too. So when you're redeeming with your air miles or you're redeeming with whatever for a gift card, it still is considered cash. So we went on to travel, where of course I'm pretty passionate about that. Travel is extremely memorable and promotable. The first thing that happens when people come back either from a day trip, a bus trip, an event, a concert, that's all under the travel umbrella, or an actual incentive trip where you've bought enough, done enough, got enough to be able to qualify. And again, your client is going to be able to help you with that. It's very memorable and quite promotable, as Linda can speak to. The first thing everybody does when they get off the plane is talk about it. Not like the cash bonus that you were giving them that they're not allowed to talk about, they talk about it. The loyalty that is created while you're traveling, you've got a very captive audience for a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week. Much better than a golf tournament. So a golf tournament, people are finding now that they can't even get out to play that 18 holes of golf. They don't have time. Where that used to be where we would do a lot of business was on the golf course, and you would be able to spend that time with your client. Not anymore. They don't want to do it. They don't have the time. There's a very high value on that. It's priceless. The memories that you have and the new friends that you created, how do you put a price tag to that? It continues to build that loyalty and the relationship with the people that have taken you. So we've done a lot of incentive trips over the years, and the loyalty that's created because they've been on the trip, it is all about people buy from people they like. Whether you've taken them on a trip, whether you've given them an award, whether you've given them a gift, that's what it's all about. And the experiences are very promotable. You can continue to talk about that. You have a captive audience for an entire week or however long you're going for.
When we talk about the keys for merchandise, there's a few things that you need to focus on if you're talking to your client. One of them is understanding your audience. You want to make sure you're understanding and the client knows exactly who that demographic target audience is going to be. Because when you choose the rewards, you want to make sure that you're rewarding with items that are in line with that target audience. You also want to look at their mission statement, if they have a mission statement. If it is a company, a corporate company that has an environmentally friendly mission statement, you want to make sure, again, that you're selecting rewards that are in line with that mission statement. And of course, I just talked about demographics. That's huge. The other thing is that you want to be able to select a reputable supplier partner. Really, gone are the days, I'd like to think, when people went out to retailers to be able to pick up merchandise rewards or gift cards, that sort of thing, from Best Buy, Canadian Tire. You're able now to source a lot of different brands, and as you will see on the show floor today when you walk it, a lot of different brands from a lot of different supplier partners. The brand names versus generic. I know in the past, SomCan has, many years ago, dealt with some generic brands. They're good from a price point perspective, but they don't really redeem as well as name brands. When people are being rewarded for doing a particular task or achieving a goal, and they're using miles, points, whatever it is, they want to have an assurance and a comfort level with knowing that that item that they're going to redeem for has a brand name behind it, that the manufacturer is going to stand behind it, the warranty is there. So brand names are huge in this industry. Communication and forecasting, I'm going to touch on that a little bit. Communication is key. The number one thing I will always tell a distributor is that you really, number one, have to communicate with your client to be able to understand what their expectations are of the program. How many items do they want to put in the program? How long is the program going to last? How many items of a particular SKU do you think that they're going to go through? Because you need to, as much as possible, communicate those findings back to the supplier. It's not that we're looking for confidential information. It's all that we're trying to do is being able to supply you with product when your client needs it. That's crucial. Big box store paranoia. We've heard this for years in terms of, and the next slide actually speaks to this as well. I can get it at Future Shop or Best Buy for $50 less. Yes, in some cases you can, especially when it comes to electronics. Can you go back a slide, please, Jane? But the thing is that you have to understand and appreciate your own value as a distributor to your client. It's not just about the cost of a product, Because if it was about the cost of a product, all of us would be looking for other jobs, quite frankly. We have to provide more to our customers as a full solution to them. So it's not just about the cost, it's about the service add-on, it's about you being able to maybe bundle it with other things, it's about gift wrapping it, it's about presentation, it's about all of that. So I think that in a lot of cases, distributors don't give themselves enough credit. You have a lot of skill and expertise that you bring to that client. Maybe it's just a matter of you educating that client a little bit more. And the costs and the margins, I know that people will say, yeah, but I can't make much margin on it. Well, at the end of the day, it's really not margins that we're banking, it's dollars. So if you're talking about a high-ticket item that's only going to net you 15%, understand that maybe at the end of the day that profit is still going to equal what you were selling a promotional item for at 50 points. It's all about dollars. And administration fees. I know that a lot of distributors, depending on who the client is that they're talking to, will actually, before they go even in and present a quote or presentation to a client, that they're going in with a contract, with administration fees up front, so that they're not spending a lot of time and sharing their knowledge with that client only to be told 3 months from now that, you know what, we're not going with it, we're going with something else. So don't be afraid to talk about that, and because it is a widespread common use about administration fees. Some questions and answers regarding merchandise, as I just mentioned. How do I compete when Best Buy is selling something for $50 less? Again, those things happen in the retail market. We can't control it, you can't control it, but at the end of the day, it makes a lot more sense for a client to be able to come to you and say, I would rather buy my big screen TV through you. Why? Because if I go to Best Buy 2 weeks from now, are they going to have it in stock? Is that item still going to be on sale? How am I going to handle a defective product? So all of those are really, really key in, again, making a case for why a client would deal through you as opposed to wasting his or her time going to a retail store. Diversification, we talked about that a little bit in terms of it's about choice, it's about understanding who the target audience is to be able to present relevant items for that target audience. And you may want to look at offering higher margin items. I mean, right now, the trends that we're seeing is a lot of customers, clients are asking for luxury items. And those items carry a lot more margin than electronics do. I always advise distributors, if you can, you need to offer electronics because it is still the #1 redeemed category in our industry. But the fact of the matter is it's also very, very low margin. So if you can change up the program to offer a mix of products in different categories, so you've got housewares, you've got outdoor, leisure, health and wellness, and even some luxury items, that allows you and the client to be able to make a lot more margin. Logos and imprinting, that's still something that distributors and their clients are asking for. It can be done. It's a matter of communicating that to your supplier to find out, can I put a logo on it? And if I am, how will that affect the warranty of the product? Understand that while most things can be logoed, you have to be careful about nullifying and voiding the warranty. I know for a fact Bose products, you can't logo on the product itself, but you can logo on the case that it comes in. So just be aware of that and make sure that you're asking your supplier partner those questions. And the other thing is that drop shipping now is huge. I mean, a lot of distributors and resellers don't want to touch the goods. It's a cost, it's an added cost, it's a lot of work. But then again, it depends how the client is going to present the award. So yes, you may want to be able to receive it at your office and then be able to give it to your client. And also offer some other special services. We talked about gift wrapping. That's becoming a lot more popular, especially at gift giving season. And bundling it. So think about, instead of selling the barbecue on its own, think about selling the barbecue with the barbecue cover and the tool set. Think about a total solution, because again, you're making it unique for that client and you can actually get more margin out of it.
I was going to say something to your point too, where my son works for Bad Boy in London now, and for what used to be Black Friday in the United States, this year in Canada we had big Black Friday. They were selling their big screen 60-inch for $8 above their cost. $8. They still had the same overhead, the lights, the staff to pay, and so on. $8. So is there any margin in electronics? Not really. It has to be about the relationship and buying from somebody and bundling it with somebody else. And like Linda said too, about putting the logo on it. When you could put a logo on a cooler or something like that, they're going to remember where they got it and why they got it. With gift cards, there are some that you can actually co-brand as well. You have to talk to the gift card company, and that has to be approved upon. There has to be minimums that are met if you are going to do the gift card and co-branding with that. For instance, a Shoppers Drug Mart card and maybe an insurance provider's logo or something like that, but you have to get permission. You have to select some of the more reputable partners to get some better margins on that. Like I said, usually it's dollar for dollar, and it depends on how many gift cards you're going to buy. When you're putting them into a program and you can talk to, let's say, the Caras of the world with your Swiss Chalet, Montanas, and Harveys and so on, they have a policy where the amount you buy over a period of time will dictate if there's any margin off those gift cards. So you're better to talk to the retailers directly on that. There's always, when putting gift cards into the program, we talked about breakage, slippage. That is usually, that's how the gift card companies make their money, to be honest. Because if you have a $25 gift card and you go out for dinner and it's $24.50, you don't get the 50 cents back. Add those up over millions of gift cards, and that's how, you know, they're making their money. They're a great product to offer in an incentive program. They work. However, they don't always have a lot of margin in them either. Sometimes there are activation dates on those, so you have to just make sure, and like I said, there's no expiry dates on those anymore either. That was my next three. There are administration fees, like I talked about with the Visa and the MasterCard. And we want to talk about who the audience is that you're giving these gift cards to. It's much easier to give an open-ended gift card than perhaps a Home Depot, for instance, unless you know that person who is your target audience, because a Visa gift card they could use anywhere, whereas the Home Depot, it's just in that particular. If it's going to an 80-year-old woman, you know, retired, does she really need a Home Depot gift card? I don't know. So know your audience. I always use the example of offering the senior citizens, if you've got those as part of your clients, the business card holder. Well, guess what? They're retired. So know who you're giving these things to. Some of the travel keys, if you're going to talk about with your client to put a travel program in place, you want to be able to discuss, and we're going to go through this on how you can put a program in and just some of the key points, but what's your return on investment? Is it measurable? Can you do something memorable without breaking the bank? Absolutely. It can be doing a group dinner off-site somewhere and doing a private transfer. I mean, you can do all kinds of things. You don't have to put everybody on a plane. As a matter of fact, some people aren't able to get on a plane. So we want to think about something else, and we can help you with that. So you want to make sure that you do select a partner to be able to provide these ideas to you, that they're reputable, that they're covered under insurance, and that some of the themed destinations can be very unique and customizable for your clients as well. Dates of qualifications. Let me tell you how an incentive program works if you're actually thinking about my sales cycle. I've been with Marco now for 13 years, and when I was just selling promotional products and contests and rebates and so on, you could close that piece of business very quickly. Now I'm closing pieces of business in 3 to 6 years. No kidding. Because you're talking to a client about putting an incentive travel program in place, well, they have to talk to their clients. So they would need a year usually, or 18 months, or 2 years to qualify for them to do something. So It's a very long sales cycle. You have to be able to give them the ideas, work with their budget, and how they want to do it. I said it's buy enough, get enough, do enough. So we work with a lot of flooring manufacturers, and they would be selling their products to an Alexanian or a Joe's Flooring or whatever. And if they buy enough throughout a year, 18 months, 2 years, then they get to have whatever, the trip to South Africa, the trip to New York, whatever it may be. So you're always driving that call to action with a carrot. And when Linda and I were talking, I was giving her the example again of the flooring, because we have a number of them that we deal with. And we were on a program, and one of the clients said to the distributor, I really want you to put a program together for South Africa. They said, that's a really big carrot. I don't know how much you're going to have to spend with us to do that. He said, look, put it in for South Africa. You've got all my underpad business. And I was just standing there listening to how this works. Sure enough, 2 years later, they did put a program into South Africa. And these people end up buying, because there's many people they can buy from. They can buy from all the carpet people, all the tile people, all the hardwood people. They buy according to destination, because it's the same person buying. So the store gets to dictate where their sales go. But like you, and I always use this example with Shoppers Drug Mart, I think everybody has an Optimum card now. So the power of incentives is that with that Optimum card, when you know on Saturday you're going to get 18,500 extra points, you're shopping there rather than Walmart. Why? What's in it for me? Those points, and I can redeem them at Christmas time for free cash. Walmart, lowest price might be the law at 88 cents, but I don't get anything for my purchase. That's kind of how it's going. I think I covered all of that. I talked about, go ahead, Linda.
Well, it's okay. You can continue.
It does create loyalty. I mean, if you're constantly buying from somebody, and this again is going to your clients, it's going to create loyalty if you've got a program, if your clients can put a program into place. There is something to be said about the employee engagement in that. It is very motivating. Just like I said with my own Shoppers Optimum card, I'm passionate about it because it motivates me when I'm getting, free dollars for my purchases throughout the year, and I get to increase my 18,000 points because I spent $75. There's something in it for me.
Yeah, in talking about employee engagement, I know that when a lot of clients put in an incentive program, whether it's merchandise, gift cards, or travel, it's important to provide a process where if it's employee related, that the employees are engaged right from the outset. So you need to be able to communicate to your client that they need to get that message out to the employees right away. They need to keep reminding them of the goal so that they are totally engaged from beginning to end. Get them in the registration process so that maybe they can go online and register for the contest, whatever it may be. But the fact is that when you motivate and you engage your clients or your employees, there's going to be a higher return on that investment. The incentive trends that we're finding in the marketplace right now for merchandise, as I mentioned, increased value of the actual rewards. It really is all about lifestyle. It's about aspirational items. It's about rewarding people for achieving a goal and giving them the opportunity to be able to have something that maybe they wouldn't have bought for themselves with cash. But if they have an opportunity to go out and get that big screen TV, to get that Rolex watch, to get that handbag, that Coach handbag, chances are, if they have enough points or miles, they're going to want to be able to do that. So the luxury brands are growing in popularity. I know that we have a lot of our customers that have clients asking them for that. And I think part of it goes back to margins. I think that they're understanding that there is an ability to make more margin, not just for the client, but for themselves. And then to be able to offer that aspirational item to the actual recipient. The points-based programs are growing in popularity. I know that distributors are working with their clients, putting in more programs that are points-based. So what you're able to do is, if you want to tackle 2 or 3 objectives and goals, to be able to assign point values of what that will garner the employee if they hit those certain goals, and then to be able to go on and online for that employee and see exactly how many miles or points they have and what can they redeem for those miles. Increased budgets. The surveys indicate that companies that use incentive programs are increasing their budgets overall for them because they are seeing a return on investment. And experiential rewards, as Jane alluded to earlier, again, it's about the experience. So it's not necessarily merchandise. It may be rewarding a client or an employee with event tickets, with concert tickets, with an ability to go whitewater rafting one day, to go to a winery for a weekend, all of those things that are going to be memorable and meaningful to that recipient.
They'll remember. So we talked about the incentive trends towards the gift cards, and I talked about whether it should be a Visa or a Home Depot, and that's, again, knowing your audience. Sometimes people do have that preference to have the Canadian Bank on one of their one of the gift cards. So Visa, RBC Visa, usually the MasterCards are still labeled vanilla MasterCards. There's American Express gift cards now too. And I just put that, I did speak to that. So as of November 13, just last year, they have reduced the administration fees. They're talking about trying to eliminate them altogether, but right now. So that still adds. Years ago, you may remember there was the American Express Persona program, and that didn't go as well as they had hoped, because for every dollar that was loaded onto those cards, it actually cost the employer or your client $1.25 or $1.10. So it became very cost prohibitive. So we don't hear about that anymore. Plus, you've got all these gift cards that you can just go and pick up. So I think still the merchandise, I mean, I speak to it, but the tangible piece of merchandise is still, or the travel, something like that, is still better because they can remember it. They can look at it, you know, on the shelf, whatever. What are the incentive trends for travel? Budgets are increasing. Unfortunately, the cost of travel is increasing. It used to be that we would have many planes going to Cuba. Now you'll have it's supply and demand, so they want to fill the plane. So budgets have to increase because travel is increasing. Now that the dollar, our dollar is at, I think today it's $1.12, I think, I'm not sure, against the American dollar. We're going to see some surcharges now on some of the packages. For Canadians to get away, it's still more economical for us to be able to package something together for you, so the flight and the hotel together if possible. That's usually the best bang for your buck. And all-inclusive is usually, especially in this Canadian winter we're having, they seem to be very, very popular as well. Again, your client's not stuck at the end of the day taking out all his best customers in an evening and picking up the bar bill. That can become, for sure, you're not going to have a program next year because you blew the budget. So you have to plan for that if that's something that you're going to do. So the top destinations that we see in the incentive travel world are still the Caribbean, like I said, the all-inclusive. Cruising is really, really affordable. It's actually much more affordable than an all-inclusive. And now the cruise companies are offering beverage packages. It used to be that people would say, well, if I went on a cruise, it's that alcohol that's going to kill us. No, now for $40 a day or less per person, you can put in a beverage package too. So it's much more economical to cruise than it ever has been. Thus, you see more and more cruise ships being built. And then you'll say, okay, but what about the Explorer of the Seas that had 700 people come back sick? And those kinds of things absolutely do happen. You hear about them, you report them. You just don't hear about the hotels as often that have the bed bugs and so on as you do. The cruise ships really do get a bad rap because every time something happens, you hear about it.
Yeah, and when you consider how many cruises are on the water every single day, really the percentage is extremely low.
Exactly. Yeah, just like flights. I mean, if something, God forbid, happens with a flight, you don't hear about every single tragic car accident, but statistically, you're going to hear about those flights too. So And then we followed by North American meetings, which again, people will say, I want to stay in Canada to have my meeting or conference and make it memorable. Sometimes flying to Vancouver is just as expensive as flying to Europe, unfortunately. And so Europe, you can put a program into Europe or Asia or anything like that. Again, you just have to budget for all the meals, and there's no all-inclusives in Europe. Group trips are still preferred over leisure. I had a client say to me, I would like to reward all my clients with whatever they wanted to. How about they can just tell me that they want to take their kids to Disney and away they go, and that's how I'm going to reward them. And I said, that's a great idea, except you're not going to create loyalty. So you don't have an opportunity as a group for them to network with each other, to share business ideas, to do some strategy sessions, because when your client puts a meeting component into this incentive travel, brings down the tax component as well. So group travel is still preferred. Plus, I think people like traveling in a group. They like the fact that they're going together, they're going to be looked after rather than just, here's your ticket, But if that's what your client wants, you can absolutely do that for them too. So you build a lot of morale, the employee loyalty while you're away. It fosters the teamwork and the team spirit, the friendships, and those are things that people really look forward to when they find that they're going to be going again. Award nights, the annual general meeting, all of that, like I said, can be done while you're away in destination as well.
So as we've alluded to in previous slides, incentives do work. It's not just us saying that. There's been a lot of stats and surveys done to indicate that. Why? Because it does drive performance through common goals with your employees, with your customers, with the corporate client. It inspires and engages your employees or your customers. It changes behaviors. We know that. I know that for a fact. I mean, having put in an incentive travel contest into our company, I can tell you that it does change behaviors. And as Jane mentioned earlier, if you have a chance to go and buy something from Walmart versus Shoppers Drug Mart, depending on, again, what the price is, you are more than likely going to be able to go to that retailer that's going to reward you in some way, shape, or form for buying the same item. It can be measured, which is great. I mean, you can actually get as strategic as you want to be when it comes to putting in employee programs. If you want to get to the point where you're saying, you know what, for every SKU that you sell of this item between the months of March and June, you will get so many points. So you can actually really hone in on what it is that the client really wants to do and wants to achieve. So whether it's driving sales of a particular SKU, whether it's driving sales of a particular brand, it's all measurable. There is a low initial cost setup. It doesn't have to be extravagant. You can choose something very simple, find out what that goal is that that client wants to achieve, put in a very simple program. It can be based on a certain time period, short time period, maybe select from a few different merchandise options or gift cards. Start there, but at least have the ability to have that conversation with your client, because chances are they may not be actually talking about it to you, but chances are maybe they've thought about it and they're just not sure what to do, how to move forward.
We're going to talk about the types of programs that you're offering this. So one of the ones that is extremely inexpensive to use, if you're talking to your HR managers, is just years of service. A years of service is still an incentive. I've stayed a year, I've stayed 3 years, I've stayed 5 years, whatever. So I think in today's industry, anybody can open up a catalog, go online, and be an order taker. So you've really got to become the solution provider. One of the biggest statistics now is people are going to change employers 8 times in their career life. 8 times. It costs a lot of money to train somebody, hire somebody, maybe they've paid a recruiter, and it takes usually, there's a 2-year learning curve. So how many companies out there are offering a 1-year of service? Hardly anybody. But what if the HR manager or the manager came over and said, $10. Again, it's a perception, like Linda said. It's something that could be a higher perceived value. Congratulations, Debbie. It's your 1-year anniversary today. It wasn't about the $10 gift. It was how they made her feel. wow, they recognize that I've been here a year. Is that going to help them stay longer? It isn't always about how much we've paid somebody. It's how did we make them feel? What else did we do for them? Was it a gift card? Was it a $10 item? Was it whatever? So those are the kinds of things that you can get into some of your HR managers, your marketing managers, whatever, and become more, stats help you sell, I think, and learn how to turn the curve for them. So we're going to talk about how to design an incentive solution. I think I sort of went into that. So you need to talk to your client, but you need to listen more. Hear what their goals are. What do they want to attain? Do they want to attain that maybe they've had a big turnover in their company? Is that one of their goals, that we need to do something so that I can create loyalty? I got to increase morale around here. We've had a bad year. What can we do to help make these employees want to stay, be proud of their company, carry the banner? What can we do? So define the goals and set the budget. Know your audience. That was what we keep saying. Have you got an audience of 20-year-olds that wouldn't thank you for an address book because everything's in their iPad or their iPhone anyway? So know your audience, know what you're going to be able to offer, and know their budgets again. Choose your method. We talked about whether it's gift cards, whether it's travel, whether it's a piece of merchandise. Maybe it's all of the above. We have many, many programs in place that all of the above are on there. Look at Air Miles. They're a great. Everyone has a card in their wallet. I started saying that. Everybody's buying because what's in it for me. So got clients that will literally use their RBC Avion. I'm going to say that one. I should sell for them because I love, love, love that card. Why? Because I can fly anywhere, no expiry dates, no blackout dates, any plane, any seat on the aircraft. Easy. So I want to buy everything on that card because I want the points. So you go buy a car. They're so up with things now. Honda says, I'm sorry, you're only allowed to put $5,000 on your card because we know they have to take a hit for it too. I mean, negotiate. So I'm buying purposely so I can use my card. Again, they've created the loyalty. What's in it for me? Budgets. Do you want to speak on the budget?
Yeah, again, I mean, that's really critical when you're talking to a client, putting together a program with them. Find out, first of all, what is the goal? What is it that they're trying to achieve? And what is their budget? They may have a budget that you feel isn't going to be able to allow you to do an awful lot. But when you look at the choices, as I mentioned, and the options out there, you will probably surprise yourself at what is doable. You want to make sure that the results are measurable. And again, you can do that based on what the goals are and the strategic thought from that client to be able to reward the employee. The communication, you want to make sure that, again, that it's loud and clear. I mean, I know that clients that put in incentive programs are communicating the results and the activity on that program once a month. They're always in front of that employee, making sure that they understand how close are they to achieving that goal. And again, it's about building the excitement and building the engagement from that perspective. The closer they're getting to that goal, the more excited they're going to become. The final reward, again, based on what the client wants to do and how they're going to deliver that. Are they going to do it in front of their peers to be able to reward them and congratulate them for achieving that goal? Or is it something else that they would rather do one-on-one? That's totally up to the client. And evaluation. I mean, at the end of the day, once the program is done, you want to be able to sit with your client and find out what worked, maybe what didn't work, evaluate the success of the program, and then move forward. And figuring out, once we move forward, what will we change? What can we add? What can we make different so that it'll be even better next time?
One of the things to keep in your face that I was going to say, we had a program where people don't necessarily know what the reward is going to be, so you can do little teasers. So the program was in Switzerland. They started off with sending them Toblerone chocolate bars. Then they sent them something else that had their logo on it. I mean, you can do a lot of things to help your client and stay in their face constantly and create excitement, and then again the big reveal if it happens to be a trip or whatever, but it doesn't have to be. It can be a program that includes gift cards, merchandise, travel vouchers, whatever, and you can help your client build that. So we talked about what types of programs. Sales programs. I need you to increase your sales this year by 20%, and in doing so, you're going to get this. Talk to your client. I want to offer them a $100 reward. I want to offer them a $50, award on their desk. What is it? It's for sales. What can we put together for you? How can we work with you and help you achieve the goals? Dealer programs. Again, same thing. So you've got a dealer program that you want to put in place. Is it an online store that you're going to put merchandise in place, gift cards, all so that they can continue to buy? Some of them, my husband is a home contractor. He works with a lot of companies like a Moen, a Craft Made for cabinetry. They all have dealer programs. So he, as the dealer that's buying those products, he actually gets rewards as well. So is he absolutely, pushing you towards a Moen faucet? Yeah, because there's something in it for him too. Is it still the best faucet he believes? Absolutely. But those are the kinds of dealer programs that you can talk about. Safety programs, tons of them. There's tons of stuff out on the floor too to help you if you've got a client that's got a safety program. Again, is it because you had 30 days? A safety program can be in any company. 30 days, no lost time, no accidents. Again, what's their budget? Can you put something in place? There's an incentive for that. Sometimes it can be as simple as a day off work. Maybe that's what they wanted. They'll remember it. Guess what? I was really careful on the floor. I wore my safety shoes. I did everything I was supposed to do. We had 60 days, no accidents. I got a day off. Wow. That's talkable. They can promote that. It doesn't have to be something. Loyalty, we've been talking about it all the way. Everybody is buying because what's in it for them? The loyalty is being created every single day. Years of service programs, we said the one-year programs, hardly anybody ever thinks about them, but you could do a $5, $10 item, make somebody feel really special, and make sure their HR manager and their managers are copied. Do go one better, send out an email. Congratulations, Debbie, it's your one-year anniversary. The manager's copied as well from the HR. Health and wellness programs, we see those so often now in companies because, again, it's how many days are we losing as a company because people are off sick. So is there a reward for the number of days that you weren't absent? We see those, and what's the reward for that? So we told, is it a merchandise? Is it a gift card? Is it a travel voucher to rent a car? You can do that too through our company. We offer travel vouchers. You can use them any denomination, no expiry, no activation fee. Let them go to a bed and breakfast. Like Linda said, you don't have to put them on a plane. And we talked about the HR absentee programs and suggestion box for the best suggestions to help our company.
Yeah, those are just some of the ideas. But again, the sky is limitless. I mean, really, what it amounts to is finding out from your client, what is it, what's their goal? What are they not doing in their company that they want to be able to do? What is it they're trying to achieve? And pretty much anything that they throw at you, you can come up with some sort of a plan that's going to be able to present a program to their employees to motivate them and engage them to achieve that goal. We came across a quote, and I just want to read this to you. I thought it was interesting. The quote is, "When employees and employers, even co-workers, have a commitment to one another, everyone benefits. I have people who have been in business with me for decades. I reward their loyalty to the organization and to me. I know that they'll always be dedicated to what we're trying to accomplish." Donald Trump. So again, it talks about the loyalty aspect. We can't emphasize enough. Sometimes I know that word is overused, but it has huge, huge impact on companies, on employees, on customers, on everyone that is engaged in the whole process of incentives. This is a little bit of trivia. We came across this was interesting, some of the best and worst incentive rewards. Some of the best, somebody said, was a ficus tree for my daughter's first birthday. Someone else said a refrigerator because it's a daily reminder. Every time they go to that fridge and open it, they remember why they have it. A thank you letter and a collection of homemade baked goods, a $2,500 gift card, and a trip to Belize. Some of the worst that people said, and this was interesting, a $25 gift certificate for a Porsche. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that would get you. But again, you have to think about the thought that goes behind choosing those rewards. A dining card that wasn't accepted after the people had eaten at the restaurant. A reconditioned blender with accessories. A Christmas coaster, I'm talking one single coaster with a logo on it. A memo pad and a recycled pen, and this is all according to July-August issue of Incentive Magazine. Again, it just really goes back to the message that you're trying to convey to your audience and putting thought really behind what you're choosing for that audience.
They don't have to be big customers, too. I'll give you the example of, again, my husband's company. He has 6 employees. He's a home contractor, and because I am who I am, we have put an incentive program in place years ago. He's an 11-year-old company. So for a referral, you do get a gift card. So if somebody, as a past customer, says, you know, so-and-so down the street, they want their bathroom done, and we go and we quote it, we always go back to the customer with a gift card. Now, if they buy from us, they get a blanket. And the blanket, it's always from Canada. I love Canada, and we've always done the logo from the company's name. And you would not believe, every Christmas we give them out, and people constantly say, every time I'm cuddled up, especially this year, every time I'm cuddled up, I think about it. And you know, my neighbor down the street, he wants to. He's just a little company. So it doesn't have to be that you do something magnanimous and put everybody on a plane or give everybody, you know, $1,000 or $2,500 gift card. It can be just something. And there's tons of opportunity out there to get ideas and go back to your clients with this after today and tomorrow, too. So then we just put some of our resources that we used in case you were interested about. And we did get help from giftcertificates.ca, which is a company, and I believe they're going to become a Promotional Products Association member as well.
And I would encourage anybody, the distributors in the room, if you have more questions and you want to know more about putting in an incentive program, go to any of the sites on that last slide, Incentive Marketing Association. There's a wealth of information there. They've got white papers. They've got all sorts of resources that you can look at and just see what's worked for other companies and how they've put in the programs for their clients, what worked, what didn't work. And there's also the Canada Council, which is IMA. And does anybody have any questions at all about anything to do with incentives?
Does anyone have any examples of customers they're dealing with that have been creating loyalty and using incentives as well? So it's your opportunity to go and teach them about it, I guess.
So I encourage you, have a great show today, walk the show floor, look for suppliers, find out what they're offering on their booths that might fit into an incentive program that you have a client that's going to be asking you for more information about. And if Jane and I can answer any other questions, we're going to be here for a few minutes. Thank you so much for coming. Have a good show.